Good mornings, Titans Nation. Welcome back into another edition of the Morning Glory Show. Happy 4th of July, America. Today, we got a fun show for you today. As always, I'm joined by one of my amazing co-hosts, B Will at B Will TFTV and TFTV Sports. How you doing today, B Will?
I'm good, man. Ready to enjoy the holiday.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a hot one, at least here in Nashville, in Tennessee, man. It's gonna be humid, hot. It's gonna be rough.
Yeah, we're already up to 85 over here in Oklahoma, and I think we're hitting triple digits like we've done all
Oh
this week.
my.
So it is a warm one, but it's going to be a fun one. Obviously, Jonathan is not joining us at the moment. Somebody is being a little sleepyhead, so we'll see if he pops in here in a minute. But we're going to be talking safeties today. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk about the ceiling for the Tennessee Titans this season, as well as the floor for the Titans. And then we'll see if we do this draft at the very end. But if not, we're going to talk just a favorite American things. America. This is Mother America's birthday. And
Yeah.
D Good in the comments saying, man, a live show on the 4th dedication.
What we
That's
do,
what we
baby.
are here for. We're here to put in work. Nobody's doing it like the Morning Glory show on the 4th of July. So we're going to have fun today. But what we got on the docket for these safeties is there's a bunch of free agents still out there. Obviously, the Titans have talked about it, that they're bringing in somebody. We don't know who that might be. And this is the time of the year when we're kind of anticipating to have that person brought in. It's going to be in this next couple weeks if we're anticipating it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But B Will, who is just somebody on the free agency market that you're looking at? And let's do a little deep dive on your guy.
All right, so I've got a guy, but I don't know if I'm gonna go with another guy from my guy.
Let's
But
do it.
at the end of the day, the guy I'm gonna name is better than the guy we have in Amani Hooker, right? So Quandre Diggs. This is the guy that I think we can go after that'll really give us some quick bang for our buck, quick value at the safety position. Over the last 4 years, 20 or 15 interceptions over the last 4 years since 2020. Insane production in the secondary, forces turnovers. Last year alone, 95 tackles combined between assisted and solos. The guy's a producer, man. I mean, he's a little on the small side, 5'9", 200 poundish. He's like one of those conies I'm gonna eat later on and coming off the grill. You know what I mean for the 4th of July. But you talk about production at the safety position. You talk about juice at the safety position, and he's a little bit of a hybridish safety. I think he would mesh really well with the system that Denard Wilson wants to put in place here in Nashville. And as I said, my problem though is, and that's the problem with the safeties that we have that are on the market right now, is there's going to be cons to every player, right? So the cons that we have for me with Diggs would probably be, how much ground he can cover and just how much speed we're going to have in that secondary, and that's going to be the problem for whatever safety we get. Is the speed because I don't know if you've seen that video. Did you see that video of those cinder block shoes that the guy had?
No, but I get where you're going with this, I think.
Yeah, we got a safety that runs with him already. I think he had the prototypes, but so we don't have much good athleticism in the safety position. And you sort of need that nowadays with how these offenses are trying to stretch the field vertically and just really trying to have you cover every single blade of grass. You look at Kyle Hamilton in Baltimore. This guy's all over the place. Do we have a guy? We don't have a Kyle Hamilton, obviously, but do we have a guy that's going to cover as many blades of grass as possible to try and help us defensively? I don't think so. So we're not going to find that in this safety guy, but this is really a stopgap just for the season. See if we can get something. I think Quandre Diggs is going to be the guy that can give us some production. 15 interceptions in the last 4 years, 95 tackles last year. I think he's the guy.
No, I think whoever they bring in on this free agency market, you're not getting a hyper athlete out of any one of these guys. At this
No.
point, this is a rental for the Tennessee Titans, but there's some maybe hay to be had there. And that kind of leads me into my guy, which I think it goes without saying, it's the guy that most Titans fans are hoping for, and they have been for quite a while now, and that's Justin Simmons. So Justin Simmons, obviously, he's at 31 now, so he's a little bit older, as most of these guys are.
Same as Diggs. They're both 31, I think.
They're both 31. Jamal Adams, who is going to be Jonathan's guy if he joins us later, that's the guy he was thinking of, who's slightly younger, but I'd much rather prefer these two guys opposed to a Jamal Adams. Justin Simmons, he came in at every year. NFL.com puts out their top 101 free agents that are available. Justin Simmons came out at 37 overall, and I think he's the second highest, only behind Stephon Gilmore, who's still on the board. So this is a nationally guy that media is looking at. I'll be very interested to see if the Titans do sign him, how the media backtracks that, and so they don't give credit to the Titans. But it's going to come with haste. But Greg Rosenthal, he puts those out every year, and this is what he had to say about Justin Simmons. He's a 31-year-old safety, won't break the bank in the market, but Simmons is a surefire upgrade to many rosters. His leadership and experience and playmaking ability, he's still got enough, he put in quotations, should warrant a multi-year deal. I don't know if we're looking at a 2 to 3 year deal at this point. I think this is early into free agency. I think the market has shifted, and I think we're all looking at a 1 year rental. And maybe it can transpire to another year down the line from there. But, I mean, this is a 4-time second-team All-Pro, 2019 and then 2021 through 2023. So he was a second-team All-Pro just last season. So he's still got it. Only missing 2020. He took the year off like everybody else did during the COVID.
I know I did.
Yeah, exactly. He was waived by the Broncos this upcoming free agency. That saved them $14.5 million. So, and they're still 28th in cap space after that. So this was a cut they probably didn't want to make, but they more so had to make. So Simmons.
And then if we get far, good run in the playoffs, it's always a possibility. He's the Mahomes killer.
Right? Yeah.
He's the Mahomes killer. People don't know that. This guy has Mahomes' number. Simmons,
he's got the number.
And he's intercepted Mahomes like 5 times. He's got the most interceptions on Mahomes in the league.
Well, I think it's the last 3 seasons he has the most at the position with 14. And I mean his 82.3 PFF grade over the last 3 seasons is a top 15 mark as well. PFF, take what you want with that. But I'm super excited to see if Denard Wilson can get a hold of a Justin Simmons and see what he can just do with this back end. Obviously, they're going to get up in their face with the corners and let Simmons just roam back there. And he'll get in the run game as well, which may be the biggest concern on this defense as of right now is how well will they stop the run. He's not afraid to get dirty in there, get his nose in that. But causing turnovers, and Denard Wilson talked about it, I think, in his opening presser. How do you create turnovers? It's population and technique. I think Justin Simmons has the drive, and he's going to get to the football regardless. So super excited to see how this transpires, but Justin Simmons, I think, is going to be everybody's number one as of now, and we'll see what really comes out of this.
He was mine at the start of the offseason. I would have took him on day one and been extremely happy, at the start of the offseason with Justin Simmons. That's the guy that I wanted the Titans to really go after, and it's amazing that he's still – I think those safeties sort of overplayed their hand a little bit in the market.
I mean, Nashville does what it does. This offseason with them and the Predators, they're just spending to spend.
Man, spend that money.
Spend that money if you got it, and we'll worry about it later. But, I mean,
I do have a question, Jake.
Yeah.
So you looked at the top 101 free agents. Mm-hmm. Where was our great former quarterback at?
Oh, he was on there. I do remember that. I don't remember.
He made the top 100?
I think he did. I'm going to re-pull that up real quick, and I might still have it up on my phone. Let me look real quick. But yes, I do remember seeing him up there.
It was a little bit of a debate towards the tail end of the season last year of Titans fans saying that, Mr. Tannehill was our best quarterback of all time. Our best quarterback of all time would have a job right now if he was our best quarterback of all time.
You want to take a guess where he came in at on this list?
Out of 101 free agents available or total, like when it first started?
So this was the top 101 once it started.
Okay. 78.
So it's going to be a little bit lower than that. came in at 59.
Oh,
And,
ain't that much lower? No.
nah, not that much lower. I mean, he's not top 50, but
Fifth
they said
quarterback.
let's see, how many quarterbacks were on this? I can't see how many was on it because it's just
Yeah.
available. But Greg's had to say, I've always been a Tannehill fan, but he appeared to show his age in some spot starts last year. He would fit best as a backup. So
yes, he did last
I
year.
would agree. I think all Titans fans would agree at this point in time. Greatest quarterback in the Titans uniform at all, regardless, whatever you think about it. I mean, Titans have
It made me pretty sick, man. I'll be honest with you. I grew up watching McNair. It was disrespectful. It's what it was. And beyond disrespectful to try and crown Mr. Tannehill our greatest quarterback of our franchise, especially considering what he did in the playoffs.
If you're just looking at box scores and statistical, I mean, it's a different game. There's a reason Steve won a co-MVP. Ryan Tannehill didn't even sniff a top 5 co-MVP, so I'll tell you that.
And he's going up against prime Peyton Manning. Prime Brady. This is, this is the elite. This is the best. At that time when he won co-MVP, this is probably the collective one of the best periods in NFL quarterback play history.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got Drew Brees, you got Peyton Manning, you got Tom Brady. Big Ben, I think, was already starting there. Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning. I mean,
it was all that same draft class. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's really disrespectful to say that Ryan Tannehill is better. It's solely looking at box scores, but it's a completely different game.
Yeah. They're not airing it out. And Aaron McNair he was a leader amongst men.
And you can't say the same about the other fella.
No. My favorite Ryan Tannehill story, I think, and it was never confirmed, but I think it was against the Texans 2-3 years ago when he was taking a snack and he just kind of threw it up. And I think A.J. Brown ended up catching it and he yelled Kobe as he was taking the hit. I was like, all right, I can get behind this. This. Show some more of that swagger. We never saw that with Marcus Mariota, of course.
Yeah.
And Tannehill was like one step above that. And Titans fans were like, this is him. This is mediocrity at its finest. But we have not had that in such a long time that you got to inflate it. So maybe Will Levis can be that guy. He's got the intangibles. He's got the arm strength. He's got the stuff around him to maybe do it. But you got to put it on paper first. You got to put it on the field.
Levis is a cornball, too. Let's be honest. But he's our 100%. Cornball. He's our cornball, so I want to embrace it.
I think it's that Baker Mayfield effect. If he's on your team, you fucking love him. But if he's not, get him out the building. 32nd quarterback in the NFL. And, man, I went on a show last night and just made a guest appearance. And they're debuting, talking about the AFC South. And they were not high on Will Levis. And then I went on to shit all over the Jaguars to find out it was a pro Jaguars podcast. So that was fun.
You just walk into rooms that you don't know who's in the room?
People ask me to come on shows. I said, whatever. I'll talk Titans with whoever.
They were trying to set you up is what it was.
No, they said, how are you breaking out in the AFC South? I said, well, it's pretty easy. It's the Texans, and I mean, flippy-flop, the Titans, and the Colts maybe, and then bottom of the basement, it's Jacksonville Jaguars, and didn't see that.
I mean, that's not wrong, man.
No, I mean, I was being truthful, and I broke it down afterwards and just kind of broke it down. I think that the Titans have improved. I think the Colts have improved. I think the Texans have improved. The Jaguars signed Trevor Lawrence to a long-term deal and lost their receiving core, and they'll have the worst cornerbacks in maybe the league. So it's pretty easy to me. D Good back in the comments. We appreciate you, D Good. Hooker is best when he has an individual next to him that allows him to play any safety spot and play free. Yeah, man. I mean,
my biggest gripe with Hooker is that it's always some accommodation we got to make for this guy. He's like the dude. He's like the guy in the classroom, and I mean this in the best way possible. He's like the guy in the classroom or girl that I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
He had an amazing
Mr. Accommodation.
season.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
You got to leave the room, take the test. That's Amani Hooker.
Was it 2021? I think he finished as like the second highest rated safety for PFF or something like that. And the Titan fans were all on board from there. He is a great rotational safety, I think. If he's safety 3, I'm happy with that. I mean, that's cool. But as a safety one, I am not. And
As a safety one, as a captain of this defense, that is terrible.
Yeah,
he's not that guy. This guy Monty Hooker. I mean, and we'll talk about it. This is the fourth. I'm in a good mood. There's no work, no nothing, but I'm in a good mood. I'm gonna give him a little bit of props. The guy turned over. He had a few turnovers in the first game, so I give him that. I was like, we might turn the corner with a Monty Hooker. Can he stay healthy? No more turnovers after that. He hadn't sniffed a turnover after that. The only turnover he was doing was turning over before and after the game on the massage table in the locker room. That's the only turnovers we had out of Monty Hooker. I mean,
he had the pick too, calling Panera Bread over there in Indianapolis. I posted that on Twitter the other day.
Yeah,
and I mean, if it was a pick six, maybe people will portray him a little bit differently, but it wasn't. It wasn't. And I mean, if ands and buts, but
and it's funny we're able to do this because Jonathan is not here to defend the Monty Hooker.
Oh man, yeah.
So that's really what it is. Yeah, he is. But with Hooker, I mean, my problem is we should not be making this many accommodations for a guy that's getting paid top 15 safety money. We shouldn't.
No.
He's paid entirely too much. He doesn't live up to it. He should have been cut, is what he should have been. But, hey, I'd rather cut him winning with young safeties. We're not winning the Super Bowl this year. I mean, we're going to talk about ceilings here in a little bit.
No.
But
and then Elijah Molden. I'm fine. I think
Molden a chance.
I think Molden might jump Hooker this season in Titans fans' eyes. I think he could play better. I like what I saw last season. I've been looking a little bit at the Titans defense last year, and he kind of pops on paper. I mean, I'd be interested. I mean, they're very similar athletes as far as just upside, but I think Molden brings a more intellectual side and more dog to this defense. He's
more
going to lay
intuitive.
He's more intuitive. And I think he has more leadership qualities. I think Hooker's just been there longer. I think him and Landry, the longest tenured Titans, I think, on the team at this point. So
he's been there longer. He makes the most money. He's got to do something. He ain't doing it on the field. I mean, shit. Hooker or Molden, on the other hand, I mean, he's got dog in him. He's more intuitive. He's around the ball more whenever he plays. I mean, the guy is always around the ball. He might not be there on time now, but that's because of his athleticism. But he's around the ball at all times. I mean, you can't complain about that, especially as a hybrid safety. That's what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they can pop down. He can pop down in the box as well, and he can play slot. I mean, I'm fine there.
Yeah, I mean, it's the versatility.
Yeah, and that's what you want in a safety. But I think that kind of leads us into our next discussion, and that is what is the floor and what is the ceiling for this Titans team. I think we're kind of on pace already talking about this floor. Do you want to kind of lead off that discussion and kind of see where you think the bottom of the basement is for the Titans this year?
So when we say floor, we're going to talk about the absolute bottom, worst case scenario that can happen for this Titans team. So for me, as ex optimist, I'll put it like that. I predicted 12 wins last year. So I'm an ex optimist. But
I'm in a similar boat. I was up there too. I had him one in the AFC South, and this year I do not.
I made a fool out of myself last year. I'll be honest. And it was the fandom that really took over with it. I wasn't being realistic. I wasn't really looking at what it was at face value. I was looking at what I could hope it would be. You know what I mean? It's two different things.
Yeah.
So for the floor, for me, looking at what it should be, what I think that the absolute worst case scenario would be, and this is as if Will Levis just shits the bed. We have injuries, stuff like that. The floor is still 5-6 wins for me. For me, the floor and the ceiling are not crazy. There's not a big gap. We're going to be where we are. We are where we are. So 5-6 wins is the floor for me. And that's if Will Levis shits the bed and we're injured all the time. I think we could, as good as his defense is, and, with the receivers we have at play, Ridley, Hopkins, I think we can win 5 games on a humbug. You know what I mean? With a backup quarterback in Mason Rudolph. We can will ourselves. That defense can win us, at least 4 or 5 games. We played Jacksonville twice, for God's sake. You know what I mean? So, and we'll do all right against I'm not saying we'll do all right against Houston, but we'll do all right against Indy. I could see at worst case we split with them. Worst case with Jacksonville, we split with them. Worst case with Houston, we get swept. So you got to think that's 2 wins there. We just got to find 3 non-conference wins on the schedule. We face a rookie, Caleb Williams, to start off the year. So, I'm really looking at 5 at the absolute worst. So what do you think?
I'm in a similar boat. I think this defense is really what just raises this floor. I don't see a way that Denard Wilson doesn't have these guys ready to play in the secondary. And obviously, the game has shifted. We're shifting away from this run the ball and stuff the run mentality, but that's not where the game's at anymore. That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So teams could run all over us, and that is kind of the part that I think that could happen. Kenneth Murray, Jack Gibbons, Otis Reese, these guys. I mean, they're just guys. They're Jags, just another guy. So we'll see how that transpired. And taking just injuries out of it, obviously, there is always the scenario where L'Jarius Sneed tears his ACL. Jeffrey Simmons doesn't recover from the ankle injury yet. Knock on wood. Will Levis, he doesn't take that next step forward, or he still suffers from the ankle injury, the shoulder injury. He has had a slew of injuries the last 3 years. So as long as those are not in the equation, I think they're going to beat New England. I think that is a very easy win. They play 4 rookie quarterbacks this year, and those should be good games for them to sweep. Maybe Brian Callahan is not the guy. Maybe this is too soon for him. And even if that is the case, this assistant coaching staff is going to raise the floor just because they have Denard Wilson. They have Bill Callahan. They have all of these guys to help bring them up to just a safe spot. I think they could finish 4th in the AFC South. I see the real possibility of that happening, but there's no way where this is back to that 2-14 season, 2-15 season they had back in the early 2010s. That's not in the cards to me. And maybe Will Levis is exactly who Volunteers fans thought he is when they drafted him. Maybe Mason Rudolph has to come in. Maybe even Malik Willis has got his ass out there. I think bare bottom of the barrel is 4-5. But that is just if everything goes wrong for this team. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Right. Ceiling-wise, I would probably say that I would say 9 wins or 10 wins. I see us barely scraping by to get the double-digit wins, ceiling-wise, if everything goes absolutely right. You know what I mean? If Levis plays really well, if the defense plays as well as we expect it to play, and we get the most out of Ridley and Hopkins and Spears and Pollard, I can see 10 wins right there, but we still got a juggernaut in this division in Houston, man. It's going to be tough to navigate with them, and Indy's tough too. I mean, the AFC South ain't no slouch no more, so it's not like you can count on just division wins and count on like before we could say, oh, we're going to sweep Houston. They're not good this year. We're going to sweep Jacksonville. You know what I mean? There's no guaranteed sweeps for any team in this division right now, even for Houston. They're not looking at the schedule and saying, we're going to sweep them. Nobody can say that with confidence because how competitive the AFC South has gotten, especially at the quarterback position. With the quarterbacks we have in this division, any team can win on any day. We've got decent quarterbacks in there besides Jacksonville, but it's I don't think that we can win over 10 games, and I think that's just because the new first year with the system, it's not going to go bang. So for me to confidently be able to say that we're going to have to win over 10 games, the system would have to go bang. Will Levis would have to go bang, and all of them would have to go bang simultaneously, right? And I just don't see that happening. Stars would have to align for us to win over 10 games, and that's where I'm at with that. We'll see.
What do you think is more likely? They win 10 games or they win 4 games?
They win 4 games.
I would agree.
Yeah.
But I do agree on the ceiling as well as it being that 10 games. I think there is a real possibility where it's just having to meld all these pieces together. They've got mercenaries on this team. We're looking at maybe 14 new starters on this roster between offense and defense. Maybe Will Levis is the guy. Maybe he is, and he takes that huge sophomore leap and he gets Calvin Ridley involved, and DeAndre Hopkins finds the fountain of youth, and he puts it together for another season. Maybe Jaquan Jackson is a pleasant surprise in the 6th round. We'll see. And then on the defensive side of the things, I think Denard Wilson is a future head coach. So for him to get to that position, this defense has to be good. I think he has the ability to coach these guys up with just obnoxious communication and just getting guys flying around. We'll see how that all plays out. L'Jarius Sneed, if you just insert him to delete the other team's wide receiver 1, that takes a lot from this AFC South just across the board. If they can go out and delete a Nico Collins / Stephon Diggs, whoever you think is the number 1, I think it's Nico. And then Jacksonville, they don't have a wide receiver 1. Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis, they don't have one. They have a slew of wide receiver 3s. And then Indianapolis, I mean, you could put him in the slot on a Josh Downs, maybe. Maybe it's Michael Pittman. Yeah, Michael Pittman is probably the smart choice there. And then Chidobe Awuzie, I think, is maybe the most underrated signing we had this past year. Looking at him coming back from that ACL injury and what he was kind of able to do down the stretch, kind of getting those legs back under him like a Harold Landry was. You kind of see those spots where he can be potentially some team's cornerback 1. He could do that on a lot of he would be on Jacksonville 110%. So having 2 cornerback 1s out there, and then Roger McCreary didn't allow a touchdown last year. Same with solid player, solid role player. He's going to be great in the slot. And he's kind of coming into his own as well in his 3rd year, I believe. So he's kind of taken off this leadership role as well. So I'm excited to see what happens out of that. We're going to cause pressure. I saw a mock-up on Twitter the other day that the Titans were the worst team in the NFL at causing pressure off blitzing. So that tells you what Shane Bowen was doing out there. Denard Wilson, he's going to send the house. We're going to see some cover 0 out there a lot. We're going to bring these corners off the edges, Roger McCreary, and even like an Elijah Moldamani Hooker. We're going to see them blitzing off the edge, and that's what Kenneth Murray does best. Just looking at the tape of what he was doing in Los Angeles, he's a very good blitzer. He's gonna come downhill fast, and even if he can't get to the quarterback, he's going to go horizontal, and he's going to fuck up one of your offensive linemen to get that guy free as well. So I think there's the scenario where this could be a top 3 to 5 defense in the NFL. And if you have that, the offensive can take a step back. All I'm asking for is a 30-plus point game this season. And I think
we haven't had one of those in a while.
We haven't had one in several years. And I think that's coming this year. I think Will Levis, I don't think he's going to be a Brett Favre. That's the plays type he has. But he's probably going to be more of this Jameis Winston. He's gonna throw it fucking deep. He's going to score a lot of points. I think he's probably going to be better as a fantasy quarterback than he is maybe just a traditional actual NFL quarterback, which maybe that brings more national attention. We'll see. Maybe that puts more eyes on him. But I do see the scenario where they could win 10 to 11 games. We'll see.
A lot has to go right for it, though, man. To be honest, a lot.
Everything
right. As it would for any other NFL team, a lot has to go right for them to win 10 or 12 games, but we need a lot to get together. So,
it's possible.
We'll see. Though. That's what we play the games for. That's
exactly.
And we're having a lot. I'm a lot more optimistic about this team than I was at the end of last year. So Carthon's done an excellent job of trying to fill as many holes as possible, and making it to where it's a palette that we can evaluate Will Levis in, and that's all you can really ask for out of the year 2 in the process.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all we're looking at. And, man, I'm sure all the mock drafts have been out this week, where all the ESPN is putting them out, where the Titans are picking 4th overall, and they're drafting James Pierce out of the Volunteers. And, I mean, that's perfectly fine. I mean, I'd much rather be seen as a bottom feeder and being able to eclipse and have that chip on our shoulder, because I think that's where the Titans play best, and that's just kind of where they've been for the past years. I mean, that's perfectly fine. I'd much rather be that opposed to the hero on the mountain getting ready to get knocked off. So we're going to come from behind. We're going to show some people up, and we'll earn our respect, which is what it's got to be. And if Brian Callahan is ready for this job, I think he could definitely do that.
Time
Well,
will
awesome.
tell.
Yeah, I think that kind of wraps that up in a nice, pretty bowl. We were going to draft most American things today. Obviously, it's only the two of us, so it kind of makes it a little bit harder. But and then Jonathan had just sent me a message, so he won't be joining us today. But we can kind of just talk about it. What are just some of the picks that you had on your board? Maybe your top 4 that you were wanting to come to you.
So I'll start with what I really wanted to take with the very most American thing that I could think of when I think of America, and I think of the Star Spangled Banner, and I think of the American flag, and I just see it just flying on a flagpole somewhere. You know what I think of? Huck Finn Barbell and Miller Lite. That's what I think of.
Oh
That's
man,
America. That is
I
America to
was
me. Huck
literally
Finn
drinking Miller
Barbell.
last night.
Miller Lite's American.
Man,
Huck Finn Barbell's American. Being loud, obnoxious, American. That's America, and that's what we should strive to be, Americans.
100%.
Was that good? Was that good?
That was good. That was good.
No, Huck Finn though.
If you
Seriously,
guys,
I mean, he's that guy. I like Huck Finn.
If you guys are joining us in the chat over on YouTube or Twitter, whatever, drop some of the things that you think are the most American. Whatever comes to your mind when you see that bald eagle flying out there. And I mean, I had some like sleeper ones that I was thinking about. I was like, man, what does America do best? And that is disregard other countries, just customs, whatever it might be. So I was like, the imperial measurement system. We took the millimeters and all that stuff. We threw it out the door. We're going to make our own whatever we want out there, and we're going to make you abide by it. We
make it out of a base 12. Like, what the hell? A base 12? Come on.
No, it makes 0 sense. But yeah, so I had that on there. Obviously, football was great.
Yep.
That is America's pastime. Fuck baseball. I don't care about baseball. I never have. I don't have a team. I've tried to get into it.
You're from Oklahoma. You can't.
It's. I mean, we don't have any pro teams. I mean, we got the Thunder, and that's it. So, but I mean, that guns, fast food, apple pie. I had home run derby on there just to give it an honorable mention, and then getting into the car side of things. Muscle cars.
Hot dogs, man. Muscle cars, hot dogs,
muscle cars, monster trucks, and
NASCAR, baby.
Left turns, baby. Woo woo!
And they just had one in Nashville. Shout out to it looked like it was a good event.
Man, I saw Teron Davenport out there. I think Teresa Walker was out there too, posting videos.
Ally 500.
Looks fun as shit. I mean, I don't watch it, but I could definitely see going to the event being fun.
Is that Natty Light?
No, I'm just drinking coffee right now.
That's American too.
Yeah,
July 4th, crack open Natty Light 7 in the morning. That's American.
I literally thought about it, but I drank it all last night, so I gotta go get more. And I'm about to go to the gym, so Edward in the comments. I think Justin Simmons places us in a good battle for contention in the playoffs. It raises the floor. We're talking floors and ceiling. I think it raises the floor. I don't know if it raises the ceiling. If it does,
I don't think Justin Simmons is worth a win. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at DeAndre Hopkins last year, how many wins would you attach to him? Like, he was responsible for probably 3-4 wins. I don't see Simmons being that big of an impact in the win column wise.
If he can turn back time and be prime Justin Simmons, I could see it. But I mean, that's I mean, you're as putting it in a Titans perspective. I mean, that's prime Kevin Byard, basically. Yeah. I mean, those are two in the same boat. So, but I unfortunately think Justin Simmons is closer to what Kevin Byard is now. So, just kind of, if it happens, hamper those expectations as Titans fans. But I think that wraps it up today. Obviously, we're a little bit shorter today, but it's 4th of July. We're going to get out of here a little bit early. We'll be here next Thursday, as always, talking Titans. Maybe we got some news next week. It was a slow week. So
we might have a safety next week.
We very well might. So we'll see how it all plays out. But we appreciate you guys joining us in the comments. We appreciate you guys joining us over on Twitter and YouTube. If you're on Twitter, make sure you go over to YouTube, type in Glory Days Sports, and subscribe. We're always putting out shorts and the community posts, and follow us on Twitter. Obviously, B Will TFTV and at TFTV Sports. You can follow me at all socials at Glory Day Sports. But we love you guys. Happy 4th. I hope you guys didn't wake up with the last time having the 10 fingers. And
yeah, be better than Jason Pierre-Paul, please.
Back it up, Terry. Back it up, Terry. We love you guys. We'll talk to you later. Peace. Mean it.